Hello everyone, it's Triple Z Hacker here, and we are back with the Shogunate Total War Tournament 2020. Today I have a great match to provide some analysis and commentary on for you guys, but before we get into the actual battle, be sure to subscribe to check out the rest of the tournament coverage on my channel, as well as tons of other Shogun 2 videos. Also check the links in the description to subscribe to Smotherjones' YouTube channel, who will also be covering the tournament. Now without further ado, let us begin with the first battle. Welcome to the first battle of the winners finals between the Ogigayatsu, played by yours truly, and Orolando, played by the Tsutsui. Okay, so we are on the map Daisatsuzen Basin for the first battle, and it features two key buildings. We have the workshop and the shrine. Now, there's really not much to say about this map, and I think I've covered it in a previous tournament match, but pretty much you can see there's a flat open terrain area. The two dojos are off to the side, which is really interesting on this, downslope. And then you have trees along the edges to hide units and, set some ambushes. So this map kind of offers a bit of everything. Anyways, let's go into the army compositions real briefly. Now, typically when I do a video of my own gameplay, I try to, provide as much commentary and analysis for you guys. But I think this time I'm going to get straight into the action as soon as possible and just try to show the battles and also provide what commentary I can. Anyways, let's get into the army composition, starting with my army right. Sorry, I had to get this set up there. Perfect. Okay, so as you can see by the graphic down in the bottom right, you have pretty much what I brought to be considered a balanced army. It's not balanced in the sense that there's no missile units, but it's a balanced infantry corps. And what I mean by an infantry corps is that there's a variety of spears and swords units, pretty much, and naginatas as well. So yaris, katanas, and naginatas there. You have, of course, the monks, which, again, their morale is amazing. You've got the nodachis as well for the charge bonus, and just being a frontline, offensive unit. I have a mix of katanas and naginata samurai because both of them really work well together, and I'm trying to bring them both in this instance just to adapt to what my opponent has brought. The naginatas, of course, are tanks, and the katanas are just really great in melee. Of course, I have the two Yari units. Typically, I don't bring this many, but for this battle, I wanted to bring just a bit more since I knew my opponent really loved cav, and also they're just really cheap, and I might as well bring extra units if I can. Now, I also bring the Yari Samurai, which is always a staple in my armies because their rapid advance ability allows them to get to the key buildings that much quicker. I also have the 4 Yari Cav, so they work as anti-cav and support my infantry as best they can. Anyways, that's my army composition. Now let's shift focus here and go to Orolando. So let me get this set up here for Orolando, and there you have it. Okay, so this army is really, really crazy, but also a good army composition, I think. It's pretty balanced in the fact that it has all types of units. You got two Matchlock Ashigaru there, which really cheap, but also powerful unit. I mean, 2 of their volleys can kill pretty much anything in this game. On top of that, you have a bunch of nodachis, which they're very formidable, as we've seen in this tournament thus far. And when used properly, they can be really devastating. You have the 3 Naginata Warrior Monks as well, so they can support the nodachis, be used as anti-cav, also flank. And then you have the Great Guard and the Yari Cav as well to go along with the Yari Samurai. So again, a pretty aggressive hybrid rush army, I would say. Now with that said, there's the army composition, so let us begin with the battle. And for this, I'm going to just not speed things up, but you can see I used the rapid advance of my Yari Samurai on this side, and of course we got the Yari Samurai over here, the Tsutsui advancing on to the workshop down there. And then of course over here we have Orolando's entire force right here, all these troops just moving forward. You can see their view here. Now I didn't move forward initially because there's really no need on this map with just trying to get to the 2 dojos. So I have some Yari Ashigaru challenging this Yari Samurai here. My Yari Samurai, of course, going unchallenged. I bring my cav out of the woods here because, I mean, there's kind of a point to bring them up as soon as possible just to match the cav over here. And of course, let's watch these Yari Ashigaru here rushing forward. We got the Yari Samurai trying to pretty much capture that workshop. And on the other side, of course, the Yari Samurai capturing there. You got the cav facing off on either side. And of course, my army now consolidating on here. But now let's zoom in. So I put my Yari Ashigaru and Yari wall right here because I really wanted them to be able to take on the Yari Samurai. Unfortunately, you know, I mismicro them and sort of give them wrong orders here, and they don't really reform in time because they again move the opposite direction. And you got a devastating charge here. And of course the Yari Ashigaru not in Yari wall are not going to hold up to the Yari Samurai. So that's not really good start for me because they already rout initially. So I send over some Naginatas to go deal with the Yaris, which I probably should have sent over a sword unit, but I also felt like I needed my swords in the center. Of course, I've already captured the shrine. And my opponent here, Orolando, is probably about to capture the workshop, so things are looking pretty even thus far. Of course, Orolando has first blood, and now he's about to get second blood. Sorry about that camera malfunction. And here you get the matchlocks rushing up forward, so let's look at their angle right here. And I think Orolando used these matchlocks pretty well for this battle up to this point. And yeah, they get a first volley on over there, those Yari Ashigaru. And I pretty much put them in loose formation, have them screen here, but you can see just these Nodachis rushing by, and here we go. We got the main part of the battle happening here with the Cav charging into my Nodachis. And it wasn't that devastating of a charge because of the trees there, and of course the rest of the line just all forms up right here. Cav charging into Cav. Nodachis versus Nodachis. Monks getting involved as well. It's just an epic clash along this whole battle line right here. And I mean, this is where the battle was getting crazy. You know, I'm trying to desperately push through this flank over here. This flank is kind of holding, but barely. And we pause it here. You can see that there's, you know, my katanas over here are not in the battle, so I'm trying to rush them over. My naginatas are fighting the Yari Samurai over there. But over on this flank, I've completely just devastated the Tsutsui Cav and pretty much just overran the entire left side. Now, the center is barely holding. You got a 4v2 here nearly with my general kind of being endangered. And then of course on this side you have 3, 4, 5 of my units against 4 here. You got 1-on-1 down there. So again, right here in this center order of battle, so to speak, the Tsutsui have the advantage, but on this side I have the advantage and I have the advantage on this side. So it's really close. It's just a crazy slaughter in the center. And of course Matchlocks just shooting into their own men, possibly not even caring who they kill, which I think kind of cost Orolando in the long run. But just again, an insane battle happening all across the entire basin. And then you got the charge into the Matchlocks right here with my Cav, what little remains of them. Just brutal assault. I mean, you know, trying to at least cut off the back line here, and of course supporting the center, flanking with some Naginata warrior monks as well, and just driving off those units. And now I've completely won the left side. And here we go, charging for the general here. The general's in stand and fight though, so the general will hold up, but oof, getting knocked down right away. I think he's still standing. But even so, this line is also collapsing over here, and so the Ogigayatsu and my forces have now just pushed. And we got these matchlocks fending off, just trying to reload as quick as possible to shoot before these monks get to them. You see this monk just ran through. He just ran right through. Didn't even kill anyone. Oh, those are the Tsutsui monks retreating. I see. Yeah, so the retreating forces. And there you go. I mean, the generals got overrun on that side. And now the matchlocks are desperately trying to hold off while they can. Even fighting off Cav. And it looks like here that the battle is clearly in my favor and a clear victory now at this point. Just a formality really of mopping up the remaining Tsutsui forces here. And of course you got some Nodachis fighting onto the bitter end right here. Fighting off against monks and other Nodachis. It's just crazy. And I think there you have it. Pretty much just, yes, as I said, a clear victory, but not really clear in the sense that, it was a costly victory, but clear in that moment that I had won. But that was a really epic battle. I mean, you can just see based off all the corpses all around here, and of course all the way down to here, that it was just complete bloodshed and complete and utter chaos. So a really great first battle. I mean, when I streamed it, it was really exciting, and yeah, it was a good victory. So now it is on to the second battle of this match. Welcome to the second battle of this match, which is fittingly on the map Rice Fields. Now, of course, this map has been featured quite a bit in this tournament, so there's not really much to say on that matter. But what is important, of course, are the key buildings. And in this case, there's only 2 of them. And the reason being is that there's actually a glitch on this map sometimes when you use it in multiplayer. So you can thank Creative Assembly at some point. But you see how there's supposed to be a key building here, but there isn't? Yeah, that's part of the glitch. And so there's just this empty space right here. So there's no building, actually. It's pretty funny. Anyway, so for the key buildings that we actually have, we have the Sword Dojo and the Shrine. So 2 of the best. The 2 best, really, I think, in my opinion. Anyways, let's go into the army compositions, and we'll start here with the Tsutsui and Orolando. So for this army, it is a pretty balanced army, I would say, and one that is quite formidable, and I think certainly well constructed. You have, of course, all those Nodachis. You still have the Naginata monks. You still have the Great Guard, the Yari Cav. You have some Katana Cav, thrown in there, as well as, you know, just those units in particular, really. I mean, it's a good combination. Drop the matchlocks, which I think was a good idea. And, yeah, I mean, no Yari Samurai this time, so a pretty elite force. And I think, you know, you don't really need Yari Samurai per se on Rice Fields, especially when there's only 2 dojos, which is how it ended up being. Typically there are 3 though, so sometimes you do need them in order to get that extra dojo, or extra key building, I should say. Anyways, let us now go for over here to my army composition for the Ogigayatsu, and you can see my army's kind of like scattered all around there, but according to the graphic and you know what I brought, I wanted to bring again a relatively balanced army, you know, infantry focused, or at least balanced offensive army is what I would call it. But I have 2 Yari Cav and 2 Katana Cav. And the reason I kind of cut down on Cav was, you know, I figured that I could at least dominate with infantry, and I wanted the Katana Cav to counter the Nodachis because they really work well. They're an anti-sword unit pretty much, or an anti-katana unit. And of course I have the Yari Cav always as anti-cav, and to support my infantry whenever possible. Now in terms of the rest of the units, pretty standard, just getting Katana Samurai, getting some Nodachi Samurai, getting Naginata Samurai, Naginata Warrior Monks. My Yari Samurais, you know, I typically bring them because they're just really useful to get key buildings, and I've kind of, you know, described exactly the functionality of all the other units, but really it's just a good combo to have like a ton of infantry and to, you know, just overwhelm with numbers typically. Also, it's just really nice to have some extra, you know, spears or Naginatas to support your cav in some cav engagements. Anyways, there's the army compositions. Now let's get into the second battle. Alright, so immediately right off the bat, I send these Yari Samurai over towards the Sword Dojo. I want the Sword Dojo, and I figure I can just hold the shrine or try to at least contest it. But you can see these guys are sprinting for their lives right now, or not really for their lives, but sprinting, you know, rapidly advancing, so to speak, towards the Sword Dojo. I mean, at tempo. You can see them just rushing over there. And of course, Orolando here just brings forward all his army. I bring forth mine as well, and here I'm going to go into some tactics. So I send the Yari Cav out this way, and of course Orolando brings the Yari Cav that way, which is good. And here, of course, I bring my Katana Cav out finally. I have them hidden for so long. The reason I have them hidden for so long is I want Orolando to sort of amass his forces here. And one of the biggest things, and a huge component actually to this battle, is sending this Yari Samurai out on the left side of the Sword Dojo. Because the way Orolando has his force constructed, it's kind of in between these 2 dojos, and I want to control the edges of them. I don't want Orlando's cav to just have free range to rush alongside. I mean, I know I'm not going to be able to stop them from rushing around to flank, but I want to delay them and have to make their, you know, trip to get around to flank a lot harder. And so that's why I have my Yari Samurai on this edge here, because they're setting this edge, sort of defending this area. In the meantime, of course, you know, I bring my Nodachis forward first, then I have the Naginata Warrior Monks right behind. I got the katanas on this side because I'm hoping to punch through right here, so that's why I have the katanas here. And then I have my Naginatas on this side to kind of just hold this flank. Anyways, let's keep going. So, yeah, here we're pretty much just meeting right at the rice fields, as the map suggests. And, yeah, pretty much just both of our lines forming up. I think Orolando maybe could pushed up a little bit more, but again, you know, consolidating forces, arranging troops, etc. I bring the Yari Samurai a little bit on the inside of this dojo, just on the off chance to help support. But, yeah, here's the most important thing. I send my Katana Cav forward first to basically be a counter charge to these Nodachis. Now, this Katana Cav doesn't really do much, but this one does. And there you got the whole big battle just going on right at these rice fields. And I'll let you guys just enjoy this for a moment. See, Nodachi versus Nodachi, Monk versus Monk, and right there is a crucial moment in the battle. I send my Cav right through this gap, and Orolando sends his Cav right along this side. And I nearly almost missed this to show you guys, but this was a brilliant move here, and this is really important and turned the battle completely. So again, like I told you guys earlier, pretty much just setting the edge. I have these Naginata Warrior Monks over here, and so this Cav now has to pretty much go all the way around and take this wide journey to go over it and hit my back line. And now my Cav has free reign to pretty much go for the general, hammer and anvil, things of that nature. So I just sneak them through this little tiny gap right here in between the dojos. And it was a little bit of a blunder on Orlando's part, a little bit of an error in the Cav micro, but worked heavily into my favor. And there you have just pretty much the front lines kind of holding as long as they can. And there's the charge to the general. You can see him just flying. I mean, it would have been better if my back Cav unit had maybe helped this way, but of course Orolando does get a good charge in here, a good flank right there. I mean, you can see guys just flying. My God, he just flew a ton, like a mile, nearly, at least like 10 feet in the air, and this is just brutal stuff. But at that point, the Tsutsui general had broken. This entire left flank had collapsed, and it was just a shame for display for the Tsutsui troops at this point because. Yeah, we pretty much just overran them, and the Cav in the rear really did them in, so to speak. And yeah, pretty much by the time Orlando's Cav got involved in the fight, it was pretty much too late at that point. And there you have it, another costly victory for the Ogigayatsu. But I was able to secure the second victory, and that means, of course, that I've won the match, and now I'm advancing on to grand finals on winner's side. So, good games, Orolando. It was really fun and really enjoyable and thrilling and short battles. But some of my, you know, some of the best Shogun 2 I've played, and certainly, you know, just thrilling and good competition. So, best of luck in the losers bracket, and hopefully we play again, possibly for the grand finals. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching this commentary and analysis video. Be sure to like and subscribe once more, and stay tuned for more Shogun 2 content.